So right now we're in society 4.0, the information society. There's a lot of talk about what's 5.0 going to be, the very smart society, or whatever it's going to be. There's a lot of definitions. We do know some things. We do know that the digital world and physical world is going to converge. We also know that data is going to be shared and create brand new value. There's a lot of things happening that we don't know what's going to happen. But at least it's my belief, and it's some very clever people's belief, that what's being done on the West Coast right now is actually one of the steps towards Society 5.0.
Hi. Right now, as it is, the Danish tourism sector is operating very much on knowledge that is based upon very many single sources. So every time we have a question coming to the destination management organization, they'll have to call around asking all of the tourism industry companies for insights. It's not easy to gather all of the insights, but we've decided to do something about that. As Denmark's largest destination in Destination Vesterhavet, we have 17% of Denmark's total bed nights, and we have 30% of Denmark's international total bed nights. So we're a pretty big destination. It sums up to well over 8,000 jobs in our destination, and it actually provides to Denmark, to the big treasure chest of taxes, 3.5 billions. The million is Danish, it's billions. And it only comes back, 1.5 billion comes back to our destination in form of welfare that we have to supply. So we don't have many of the earned tourism income that stays with us to build new infrastructure, new development issues. So we were interested in getting more documentation on to what value that the tourism sectors actually bring to our area. And we're not the only ones, because we are gathered with the other West Coast destinations, both below and on top of us. And together we have 50% of the Danish tourism when it comes to the international guests. We share the same guests, we share the same challenges, and we share the same goals. So for us, it's been 10 years working on a partnership to co-create for a more sustainable and more efficient tourism sector, because basically the west coast of Denmark can't hold any more tourists during the high season. We have to develop our shoulder seasons, and we have to attract the right guests at the right time to do the right things in order to grow in a sustainable way. It's all possible because we have an ambitious tourism industry, and they have a collective mind. They don't only work for themselves, they're actually willing to share all of their knowledge and insights. So that's why we're very happy that NCT and Dansk Kyst- og Naturturisme has gone forward and put up this data project, which is now beyond the phase of project. It's going into actually live dashboard now, where all of the destinations can each supply all of its actors with the right amount of information to the right people at the right time. So we can have the politicians doing the right dialogues, we can have the all of the right discussions to make sure that we have the right infrastructure and the right conditions under which to work. We can make sure that the decisions that we make within the tourism industry is fact-based and not just based on gut feel. And we can increase transparency and decrease any of the bias that you'd get from looking at just one single source of information, which we've traditionally have to do. So for us, as a destination management organization, we get a better understanding of our customer needs and their behavior. We can uncover trends and risks before they even happen, so that we can do proactive measures to meet them. And we can provide a better visitor management. For all of the actors itself, the industry, it makes it easier for them to evaluate how they're doing and also make better future decisions. For example, the baker, does he need to make bread rolls or does he need to make sweet Danish pastry? What's the right week to transition from the fresh fish that the Danish like to pay for to the smoked fish that the Germans would rather pay for? It comes down to very small details, and data will tell exactly when to change, when to shift. And there's a lot of cultural things that we can actually learn from this data project as well. So with the data, we'll be able to attract the right tourists at the right time and direct them to the right places. And it's not everything that we think we know that is actually true. The data will show us a lot of things that we didn't know that we'll have to look further into. Also, it will help us identify the sweet spots of density. If we can't hold any more tourists, then at what stage exactly are we performing our best? And also, it will help with decision making for infrastructure repairments. There are some weeks where it will damage less than it will in other weeks. So that is basically what we're taking out of this tourism mobility, tourism satisfaction, and hopefully a more sustainable tourism development in the future.
Thank you, Vibeke. So Toyota is building the city of the future in Japan, right at the foot of Mount Fuji. And Toyota's CIO has been looking at a lot of use cases around the world for smart cities, smart technologies, etc., etc. One of the things he picked out he wanted to see more about was actually the tourism project in Denmark. Not because it was big or fancy, but actually because he saw one of the main challenges behind building Society 5.0 is to get people to share data, to get competitors to share data with each other. And in the tourism industry, and a lot due because of Vibeke and her team's communication skills, there's actually a sector that are willing to share data because they all know they have one common goal. They have that common goal, the happy tourist, because the happy tourist is going to spend more money, and he's going to come back next year, bringing his friends to spend even more money. That actually means the ice cream shop is willing to share his data with the other ice cream shop, or the summer house rental company are willing to share their data with the other summer house rental company. Because by making each other stronger, they make themselves stronger. And this is quite unique. So if we have the normal equation about what's the value of insight, we can see if, for example, the bakery can make better planning, he can save that much in food waste. He doesn't need to make too many bread rolls because he's afraid of selling out. But once we look at data in an ecosystem, we see we have some, this can be for very many sectors. I'm just taking the tourism here. For example, Visit Denmark, they don't have a lot of users, but they have a ton of data. They're also sharing that. They're sending insights down the system to the actors, and to the destinations, etc. Same, we have the destinations. They have a lot of data, not as much as national organizations. A few more users, but if you look at the bottom level, that's where all the users are. But they don't have a lot of data. They only have basically their own transaction data. And if you look at a bakery's data by itself, it's not of much value. But once we start sharing that, the value of that data increases radically. Because that one bakery's data about what he's selling, it's not worth much by itself. But once we start putting that together and sharing it, it actually gives us some insight that we didn't have before. Right now, we can only see how much is spent on credit card, how much is spent in bakeries, but we can't see what they're buying. We can't see where the people buying that are coming from. So it means that the value we are getting from insight is drastically increasing. If we take the other part of the equation, how much does it cost to create data? We need to calculate that to find out is it even worth getting this insight. When we take data, put it into an ecosystem, and we share data across, it means not only is the value multiplied, but the cost is also split. So the cost of data falls, the value of data rises by sharing data in an ecosystem. That's exactly what Vibeke and her team are doing on the West Coast. One small thing, do I have any more time? A little bit of time. One of the cool things that's being done on the West Coast is that we're not having a data lake. Every time we're getting data and we're using it for a dashboard or for other ways of transmitting that data, we format it, we document it, we structure it, we make it very easily accessible in a data catalog. We have some very cool data, but it means that the next time that Vibeke needs to ask a question, or the next project they want to get some insight, they have a complete catalog of the data already available on a national level. And this one is already being built and being used. And I think that was my time for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What have you experienced that have been most surprising when people react to this project? What do they say?
I think that they are surprised how easy it is to actually get a hold of all of these shared data. There's some national big data, and there's a lot of data that they themselves hold, and that they can easily feed their small individual data into a project that will, into a platform that will allow them to see their data in relation to all of the big data, that it is actually possible by as little effort as it is. That surprises them a lot.
But if you're at a dinner party, what's the story that you tell on what you're doing, that everybody can understand the benefit of what you're doing?
Basically, it's all about insights and being able to act on insights. Because if we base too much of the decisions on gut feel and only single source knowledge, then it's no good, because we need to have the bigger picture. And the collective data here enables us to actually do that. And what I say about it is that it's actually pretty unique, because not many other countries are willing to share as much as we are here. They all see that they gain more by sharing.
I'm just going to scan the room to see if anyone is more brave when participating. Yes, there's a hand. Who has the microphone? Maybe Thomas, you can take it. Is it? I don't even know what it is. Is this it? Okay, the gentleman over here.
Here we go.
Yes. Hi. So I noticed the predictive sort of aspect you had with the bridge, when to repair the bridge, and how like granular can you be with the predictive stuff, with the, when the museums will have a lot of visitors and act on that. Do you have any more examples of this kind of way of thinking forward with the data? You know what I mean?
We haven't done that much predictive yet, to be honest. We're trying to calculate, we're trying to predict how many people visit, for example, Blokhus per day. So at 9 or 10 in the morning, we can say how many people is going to come today and how many people is going to come tomorrow, and what's their main reason for going there. Are they going for the beach? Are they going for a concert? Are they going to get an ice cream, or they go shopping in Kalstrup, for example? We can't get granulated enough right now from what we actually desire to. It's still a work in progress. We've been on it now since last year for this project. But we already do know now that we will be able to become very granular within the next year or two.
And what needs to change for you to do? Is it just time, or do you need more tech, or more like a better cooperation with the museums, or whatever it might be?
We need more of the very granular data from the shops, from the attractions, from the museums, etc. That we are getting, and people are willing to share it, but there's a lot of bureaucracy in actually getting that from the different companies that need to supply that data.
Bringing it up to here was also just the case study, the proof of concept. So right now, what we're doing for the next 2 years is onboarding all of the actors in our area, all of the tourism industries. And once we have their single source data pulled into the big data, then we will be able to make more accurate predictions.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any other brave participators? Well, what can you both say about what this means to the future of tourism? What are the goals, and what are the possibilities here?
I think, should I start? One thing is it's going to improve the possibilities for the private companies and the actors in tourism. But I think sustainability-wise, this is going to give some massive improvements. if we look at food waste, if we look at optimization of energy, that part I think is going to be big here, and we haven't even started touching that for real.
And how much does that part that's more value-based, how much does that mean to you?
Say again.
The sort of value-based, that the stuff that's not just efficiency, but it's also about
Yes, the sustainability.
and
Yes, thorium density is a hot topic along the West Coast, but there is so many more dimensions when it comes to being sustainable, and we work on all 3 levels. So for sure, that plays a major role in this. It will not only be a tool for making financial growth, it will be a tool for making the right decisions to make sure that we also have a strong tourism industry within the next 10, 20 years. And those decisions are based upon insights that will come from this project now. And right now it's just the West Coast working on it, but within the next year or so, it will be actually a tool, a platform that will be accessible to all of the Danish tourism management organizations.
It's great to hear the first movers from the West Coast. Thank you so much to Vibeke Birke Tidemand and to Thomas Kierkegaard. Thank you.
Thank you.